I live in Los Angeles, so I come often to the Huntington Gardens, but I actually wasn't so familiar with this particular wing. So I visited the space twice, and I was just like completely compelled by Zenobia. And the way how the room is set with the especially that light coming from the ceiling also. So, yeah, I listen to this. The first thing I do, because that was your question, is like I go and I listen to the space, and I really like I'm like what can I do here? The reference is Cézanne is interior of a forest that is from 1880 approximately, and it's almost around the same time that Zenobia changed. So it was, but in America, and Cézanne was working in Europe. And I wanted to play with this Europe-America interchange, because at that moment it was starting to be important in the arts, but it was not so evident. And that's why I also took this painting from the European wing from Henry Fuseli, that it was from 1780, like 100 years earlier, and decided to make a copy of it 250 years after, just to have this kind of like anachronism. No, but it all comes together, like you were asking, for example, the first time I came here, the first visit I did, just for the Made in LA, not the first time I came to the Huntington, I went straight to see the European wing, and I saw the Fuseli, and it's one of my favorite painters. And the connection to this, to theater, to Shakespeare, to Macbeth, it's a play that I've always been very compelled because of the whole aura of spell that is around. And it was a challenge for me to, I'm gonna quote Macbeth. You know that many, it's said that if you do Macbeth, you're gonna have a tragic accident or something. Like Roman Polanski did Macbeth after Sharon Tate's murder as a way to exorcise everything. So it's a very powerful play that I was like, I'm gonna play this card. So that came from one side, from the other side came Zenobia, and then from the other side came this other painting that came from, I grew up in Buenos Aires, and I used to go a lot while growing up to the Museo de Bellas Artes, and there was this painting that is called La Vuelta del Malón, the return of the Indian raid, that depicted, it's this sunrise with like this Native American, they're called Mapuches, it's a specific tribe, coming from looting a village, colonial village, and they have this captive on the horse. And I always was very compelled by the painting because it was part of my history. The painting was from 1880s. That's when actually my family started to exist in Argentina. And I had never understood the contradictions because my great-grandfather was an Irish general who was part of the conquest of desert, and he married a Native American, a Mapuche. So there was like, how were they conquesting and marrying at the same time, you know? Like, and I always was like, and then this painting was like not fair somehow because it was depicting the Mapuches in a wild way, and I knew the history was different. So I decided to do a retake of that one too, which was made at the same time that the Cézanne and the Zenobia. The Zenobia was in America, the Cézanne was in Europe, and this was in South America. And I'm somehow a mix of all that, with a lot of contradictions, so I was just trying to understand a little bit, yes. But I didn't realize that what was coming together unconsciously was that the Fuseli painting had this title of the Macbeth saying, I'm calling gorgons, which are the medusas, that are calling these gorgons to turn people into stone. And then there was this marble sculpture, and I was like, this is starting to connect somehow. But then Zenobia was actually a prisoner from Syria, I think, by the Roman Empire. So she was a captive that she was released because of her beauty and her grace. And then I realized that I was also depicting another captive from the South America colonization. So it was all starting to kind of talk about more of like a meta language somehow, from different stories, of things that they repeat in every culture anyway. I was trying to just open up a gate to the collection, open up a gate to like travel in time, to break the distance between the viewer and the collection, to just clash them a little bit.